A crucial data drop this week may decide if Australian mortgage holders get a rate cut next month, which is being described as in play by economists, not all of them, but a chunk of them. Joining us live now is a key economist on this program, Peter Switzer, the founder of the Switzer Report. Pete, good morning to you. So it is the quarterly CPI numbers. It's a big one. They're out on Wednesday. The hope is it'll be soft. What's the reality?
Well, the number we would hope for, mate, if you're looking for a rate cut and being a young person, I'm sure you got a mortgage, you'd be praying for a rate cut. If that core number, and the core number doesn't have any bells and whistle savings from rebates from governments to whatever, so it's the key number. If it comes at 0.5%, that brings the annual rate to 3.2. Also, P, if you take that 0.5 and multiply it by 4, you'd annualise it at 2%. So that's the kind of number that would help the RBA cut rates in the middle of February. So I think it's gets down to that. I'm not sure that the number has been trending down. And I think the bottom line is if we see a 0.5 number and a 3.2% one, a rate cut's definitely in play.
What's your hunch, Pete? I mean, or is there an inclination, and I know others have suggested this, that they might just keep things on hold this time around and give themselves a few more months to see how it all plays out, which might make May a near certainty?
Yeah. That's what an accountant would do. That's what a central banker would do, Pete. But history has shown, and Paul Keating has made this remark many times, the RBA is always late to the party. And I think that there's enough signs out there that the private part of the economy is really slowing down. The governments, state governments and federal governments have been pumping up economic growth by building up the public service and doing a lot of infrastructure spending. But the private sector really is feeling the pinch. I hope the RBA cuts in the middle of Feb.
Yeah, so what lesson do we learn from the Feds here, the US Fed Reserve, Pete? Because some suggested that their rate cuts went maybe a beat too early. What do they do next, and what does that mean for us?
Yeah, well, the interesting thing about America is, Pete, and we talked about a Goldilocks recovery, not too hot, not too cold, and that's when the Federal Reserve started cutting interest rates. I think what we've got in America now is a Trumpalocks recovery, and I put the IP on that one, because you've got this excessive amount of stimulus coming from his less regulations, he's promised less regulations, lower taxes. You've got the artificial intelligence continuing to go on. Corporate taxes, corporate profits are better than expected. So what we've got is extraordinary performance of good growth, and the last inflation number came down in the US better than expected. And on Friday, we will see that PCE, that personal consumption expenditure number. That's what the Federal Reserve really looks at. If that keeps coming down, I think the lesson is we're living through this unusual period where we're getting growth and lower inflation, which is a delightful experience.
All right, there's your preview from one of the best in the business, Peter Switzer. Thank you. Big day on Wednesday.